My kids were so happy to have their elf back again this Christmas. This year, for his debut, he left us a little note saying, "Dear kids, ho ho ho, I've missed you this year, but I'm back to play. I'll be staying again until Christmas Day. I'm looking forward to reporting to Santa each night and hope there will be only kindness and love within sight. Don't forget not to touch me or my magic I'll lose, and I'll try not to get into too much trouble while you snooze. Love, your elf and reindeer." He's such a sweet guy, our elf. The next day, our elf had gone fishing. He had made a little fishing pole for himself, and he was fishing for some goldfish. I mean, I can't blame him. Goldfish are one of my favorite snacks as well. So he has a little pond here that he made out of our spoon holder. He made a little fishing rod for himself, and he and the reindeer must have had a nice night. Our elf is quite the jokester, so today he left us a note saying, "What kind of music do elves like best?" It was rap music, but notice how he spelled it. So we found him with some wrapping paper. It was the Disney Cars wrapping paper with the cars all dressed in their Christmas best. He's such a funny guy. I bet we'll have some more jokes from him later on. "Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man." I guess the elf decided to dress up in a little costume and get festive with all our gingerbread decor. He was dressed up as a gingerbread man, and it was just so adorable, and he left us a fun little saying there. What is an elf's favorite animal? An elephant! Get it? An elephant. Haha, he's such a funny guy, our elf. Looks like he was hanging out with Dumbo last night and telling some funny jokes. I don't think our elf quite knows how to play Bananagrams. He left out some bananas. He also drew some funny faces on them and some graham crackers, I guess, to play Bananagrams. And he just decided that he would draw some faces on the bananas just to be silly. It is always a treat when our elf leaves us some treats. He bought some cookie dough, it looks like, and maybe he got it from Costco. I don't know, can elves go to Costco? But he brought us the giant tub of cookie dough, and we were all about it. Oh no, not again. It looks like our elf got stuck in another one of our screens. If you've seen our previous Elf on the Shelf ideas, our elf did get stuck in the TV last year, and it looks like he got stuck in the iPad this year. He said, "I hit the wrong button on the remote. How do I get out of here?" Santa says no iPad today. Well, it looks like the elf got himself into a bit of trouble after getting stuck in the iPad yesterday. The elf was not allowed to play with the iPad today. What is Santa's favorite cereal? Frosted Flakes. I told you guys our elf was a jokester. He left a Frosted Flake in his cereal bowl with a spoon for Santa. It looks like our elf is a fan of the Barbie movie too. We found him this morning at Barbie's vet clinic with the reindeer. He must be waiting for Barbie so that he can get his reindeer a little checkup. I'm not sure what happened at Barbie's clinic yesterday, but I guess she didn't like that the elf and reindeer were getting into some mischief. She left us a note saying Barbie rules, and the elf and the reindeer looked like they were facing some time out. What did they do? Somehow our elf got into the pantry. How do you spell candy with 2 letters? C and Y. They are quite the jokesters. And you know what else? They found Mom and Dad's stash of candy. So now the kids knew where our hiding spot was. About halfway through our time with our elf and reindeer, they left us a note saying, "We're watching you." But look at them, they're so funny. They left some little eyes just to remind our kids that they are watching, they are reporting to Santa. So just a little mid-season check-in to let the kids know they are being watched and to be on their best behavior before Santa comes. Sometimes our elf takes things a little too literally. He wrote down Christmas tree farm. He dressed himself as a Christmas tree, but then was hanging out at the farm. So I think he got a little confused as to what a Christmas tree farm actually is. But hey, he gets points for his costume. How cute is his little Christmas tree outfit? Not to mention some bonus points for the reindeer hanging out in the barn in the stable. The next day, we didn't get a note from our elf. We got a note from Buzz Lightyear saying, "Dear kids, this sad, strange little man has been secured from Buzz Lightyear." Now, let us know in the comments down below if you get Buzz's reference. But I guess Buzz and Woody didn't realize that our elf is actually a good guy. So we had to let them know that they can actually be friends with the elf and that he is a friend, not an intruder. It looks like the elf and reindeer now have a friend in Woody and Buzz. The elf left us a note saying, "Rolling with my homies." So I guess Buzz and Woody and the reindeer and elf are now friends. They were up to some shenanigans, probably rolling themselves in the toilet paper and having a good time for themselves. All aboard the shoo-shoo train. Today we found our elf, our reindeer, Woody, Godzilla, and Buzz all playing shoo-shoo train. They made a makeshift train out of Daddy's shoes. They must have had a lot of fun that night going around the house in their little makeshift shoo-shoo train and playing, I guess, train. It looks like our elf thought that Slinky's dog biscuits were cookies. "Don't leave these cookies for Santa, they taste funny." Well, of course they taste funny, elf, because they are biscuits for our dog Slinky. And let me tell you, Slinky was all too happy to investigate what was going on. She was very happy that the elf took out her biscuits and was trying to get some for herself. We found what looked to be a chip tree on the side of our kitchen island with a note saying, "Merry Chipmas." I'll hand it to you, elf. You are quite creative. Look at that tree made out of treats. Very cute. Every year, our elf usually rewards us with a gift or two for some good behavior. This year, he said, "You've had such great behavior, so I brought you a special treat back for you from the North Pole. P.S. Ask Mom and Dad to read it. We love when the elf brings us gifts, especially ones that we can all enjoy together." It seems like our elf has made some new friends. He had an elf sleepover. He borrowed some of the kids' socks. And he had Anna and Elsa, he had Spider-Man, he had a couple of puppies join, Baby Yoda, and even Mickey and Minnie. And they were all sleeping in some socks, except for Anna and Elsa, who brought their own blanket. But how cute is this with their little elf sleepover? Here the elf made a little artwork. It looks like he drew a picture of himself in his little red outfit, and then he left the kids a note saying, "I drew a picture of me for you. Can you draw a picture of you for me?" So that night we drew pictures and left them out for the elf. Oh boy, what is our elf up to now? He stacked cans so that he could get the cookies. Don't worry, I found the cookies. First, he got into our candy stash. Now he found our cookies from Magnolia Bakery. If you know, you know we are from New York and Magnolia Bakery is a staple for us, and it looks like the elf found out our little secret. Our elf must know how hard Mom works year-round, especially at Christmas time. So he said to tell Dad that Mom gets to sleep in, it's Dad's turn to cook breakfast. He even left out some easy suggestions for Dad, some buttermilk pancake mix, as well as some chocolate chips. So Dad had to make chocolate chip pancakes for breakfast that morning while Mom, me, got to sleep in a little bit. We built you a snowman that won't melt? What could it be? So we opened the fridge and there we found a little vanilla pudding snowman that the elf and reindeer had put together for us. How cute is this? And guess what? They were right. It won't melt and it was delicious. Our elf was back again with another joke. Why did the elf sleep by the fireplace? He wanted to sleep like a log. So here he is, all curled up with the reindeer in front of our fireplace, cozy and warm, and I guess sleeping like a log. The night before Christmas Eve, the elf and reindeer wanted to let us know that they were going to be writing their official elf report. They asked the kids, have you been naughty or nice? Hopefully the elf agreed that the kids had been nice for most of the time during the holiday season and all year round. On Christmas Eve, we found the elf hanging in the tree, saying just hanging around till Santa gets here. He even used a hanger to hang himself in the tree. Now that Santa had come, our elf was no longer hanging around for Santa. He wished us a Merry Christmas and told us that he would be seeing us next year. Every year on Christmas, we find our elf and reindeer in the Christmas tree, watching over us as we open presents, and it is such a magical time, and we cannot wait till next year for our elf to come back.
When we first saw this sign, we were like, where is our elf? We couldn't find him anywhere, and then all of a sudden we look out the window and there he is. What a greeting. It wasn't even very warm that day, but the elf decided to hang out outside, let us know that he was back, so was his reindeer friend. Let's make some trees. I love that the elf left us some cones and some things to decorate them with. One of our favorite things to do, other than decorating gingerbread houses, is to decorate ice cream cones to make them look like Christmas trees. We caught our elf playing gin, although I'm not sure our elf knows how to play gin. This didn't really look like Gin Rummy to us, but we just went with it. I mean, who knows how toys play? Maybe they have their own version of Gin Rummy, but let me know in the comments down below if they were playing correctly or not. Avengers Assemble. Is this a play on Avengers Assemble? Yes, it is. Our elf and reindeer were hanging out with the Hulk, Spider-Man, Captain America, Black Panther, and Groot, all from the Marvel universe, which, let me tell you guys, we love Marvel, so the elf knew exactly what to do. Oh my goodness! Is that the elf and our reindeer with one of our kids? Yep, yes it is. Our elf and our reindeer snuck into Winnie's bed, took a selfie with her, and then left the picture here. Anybody looking for a Christmas tree? Our entryway table has a ton of small Christmas trees and signs to sell Christmas trees, so our elf decided that he wanted to sell them for $1. On this day, the elf was in our manger, and he left us a note saying to ask Mom and Dad to tell about the story of Christmas, meaning baby Jesus, and the story of the manger. So we thought this was really neat that the elf decided to leave us this note to have us tell the kids why we truly celebrate Christmas every single year. Oh, where could our elf be? Oh, do you want to build a snowman? He decided to build a snowman out of our toilet paper. He and the reindeer built a snowman using toilet paper and I think tissue paper to make this snowman. Very creative, elf and reindeer, very creative. On this day, our elf and reindeer left us matching pajamas, and they tried to pin it on Mom. Come on, we know you guys wanted us to have matching PJs to take those awesome Christmas pictures. Don't blame it on Mom, but how cute are these pajamas? Keep up the good behavior. Stick to the nice list. We love it when our elf rewards good behavior. On this day, our elf and reindeer left our kids some stickers, some gingerbread stickers. I think I see some reindeer stickers in there as well. And the kids absolutely love when they leave some treats. How do cereals say goodbye to each other? Cheerio! Oh, our elf and reindeer can be so funny. On this morning, they left us a box of Cheerios with 2 bowls and 2 spoons to have breakfast, and they decided to leave us a joke as well. The next morning, we caught our elf and our reindeer playing tic-tac-toe with mini marshmallows. They must have gone into the pantry and gotten some marshmallows and took some Sharpie markers and wrote X and O on them so that they could play tic-tac-toe over and over again while we were fast asleep. The floor is lava. Uh-oh, where could our elf and reindeer be? On this day, they were on the wall playing The Floor is Lava. If you guys don't know what The Floor is Lava game is, it means You cannot step on the floor. You must step on everything else except the floor because the floor is lava. So we don't want our elf and reindeer to burn in the lava. So they were hiding up high so they could avoid the lava. We love it when our elf and reindeer leave us treats, especially activities that the kids can do, that the kids can play with. On this day, they left the kids some paint and some canvases to paint, and the kids had an absolute blast. Winnie got paint all over her canvases, but it was totally fun the whole time. Here's one of my favorite stories to read at bedtime. So on this day, the elf and the reindeer left us one of their favorite books, the Elf Pets book, A Reindeer Tradition. And this book talks all about how the elf and the reindeer came together, and the kids loved it. I love you to the moon and back. Okay, not sure what was going on here. It looked like the elf and the reindeer wrapped themselves up in tin foil like they were going to outer space maybe. What do you guys think? Okay, so what are your feelings on Grinch poop? On this day, our elf and reindeer left us some free Grinch poop. And I don't know how I'm feeling about it. We could see that the Grinch wasn't too happy. He was looking over in the distance, and I had a feeling that the next day something was gonna happen. Help! Sure enough, the elf and the reindeer had it coming. What can I say? The Grinch was not having that little prank that went on, and he decided to prank the elf and the reindeer right back because we all know the Grinch, he's not going to stand for that. Best cereal ever? Well, that's debatable. Our M&M cereal? I don't know, guys. The elf and the reindeer seemed to think that they were eating cereal, but we all know that they were eating M&Ms. But come on now, I guess that would make for a good breakfast. So maybe they were up to something. Guys, this had to be the toughest day to find the elf so far. He said he hit the wrong button and didn't know how to get out of the TV. How did he get there in the first place? Let me tell you something, you guys. We looked high and low all day long for our elf, and finally around bedtime, we decided to watch a Christmas movie. We turned on the TV, and there he was. Crazy. Another day where the elf left us another little gift. We always love when the elf and reindeer leave us something. On this day, he left a coloring book. It was an Elf on the Shelf coloring and activity book, so you can never go wrong with that. The kids had a blast coloring the pages for the elf and reindeer. What's with these jokes? Where do reindeers grab their morning coffee, or shakes in this case? Starbucks. You're so funny, you guys. On this day, the elf and the reindeer made a chocolate shake for breakfast for the kids. It was a chocolate reindeer shake. It was so cute. We thought that was so sweet of them. And another joke. What's a snowman's favorite hot drink? Frosty. And look, they even made us a tiny mini marshmallow snowman. How cute is that? We found them on this day in our pantry. They were hanging out with all the hot chocolate fixins, so I guess they were trying to tell us it was time to make some hot chocolate. This was another day where it took us a little while to find the elf and reindeer. It wasn't until I was doing some laundry that we stumbled upon them. And guys, it's not a ride, it's the dryer. What's with this guy and chocolate poop? I thought you could use this bag of reindeer poop to make cookies. I mean, I hate to break it to the elf, but we all know it's chocolate chips. But look, the reindeer had Rudolph with him and Sven from Frozen. He had all his reindeer friends. I guess they wanted us to bake, huh? Do you guys like to read 'Twas the Night Before Christmas? John reads this to the kids every single night from November 1st all the way through Christmas Eve. And I guess the elf and the reindeer wanted to get in on the fun, so we found them on this morning reading to all of our Disney friends decked out in their Christmas best. It had to be the best day ever. The elf and the reindeer were in a container so that the kids could actually pick them up and bring them around the house all day. Winnie was so excited when she found them. She couldn't wait to bring them everywhere with us. It was so great. This was another day where we had trouble finding the elf. He's always getting into mischief, that elf and that reindeer. This is our fridge in our garage, so we only go down here maybe once a day, maybe once every other day. And we looked high and low for our elf and our reindeer, and it wasn't until John went to go get another gallon of milk that we found him and the bad milk. And that completes our 30 days of our time with our elf and our reindeer. As always, on the last day, they hang out in our Christmas tree and they watch us open gifts, and they leave us a note saying, "See you next year." He's back! Our elf left us a note saying, "I'm back. I found a faster way to and from the North Pole this year. It looks like our elf and reindeer are a bit more tech savvy this year. Instead of flying to and from the North Pole every night, our elf and reindeer now have a virtual door to and from the North Pole, and they're also leaving us messages on the iPad. So I would say our elf and reindeer are definitely more tech savvy than they have been in years past." It looks like our elf has been watching a little bit too much reality TV. Now, if you guys didn't know, in our house, The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, The Golden Bachelor, The Golden Bachelorette, they are staples in our household. John and I are always watching them, so maybe the elf caught us watching The Golden Bachelorette and he got an idea for himself to go on a few dates with the Disney princesses and find himself the perfect mate. So it looks like he's giving Belle a rose here, which, I mean, kind of classic since Belle's associated with roses. Our elf and reindeer typically come right after Thanksgiving, so here they left us a note. "December is almost here. I brought these countdown calendars to spread the holiday cheer. One of our Christmas traditions is to use advent calendars, so we absolutely love these since we are big Bluey fans in our home." We love when our elf leaves us something like a treat or a craft, or in this case, it's like a little bit of an experiment. So it says, "Add warm water to make a rainbow." So our elf left us a plate with Skittles. He even left some Skittles behind, and his instructions were to add warm water. So after the kids found the elf and reindeer like this, we decided to go ahead with the experiment, and I added warm water, and the kids thought this was just so cool. We made a Skittle rainbow, so it's always fun when we have an activity to do. So like I just said, we always love when our elf leaves us something. So today he left us a little pack of ornaments to paint. My kids absolutely love painting. Here's a craft for you to do tonight. So thank you, elf and reindeer. Like I said, we love doing crafts. Whenever our elf leaves us something, we always look forward to doing it together as a family. So he left us these ceramic ornaments. Again, my kids love crafts. They love painting. So this was absolutely perfect. On this day, the kids had a tougher time finding the elf. We didn't find him until I went into the laundry room to do my daily load of laundry, and the kids were like, Mom, whose laundry is this? So then we noticed the note from the elf saying, "I hope you don't mind that I did my laundry." So it looks like the elf did some laundry and he left it hanging in our laundry room to dry. From time to time, our elf is known to get into a little bit of mischief. He can be a little cheeky at times. And on this day, we walked into our powder room to find it, a little bit of a mess. And the elf said, "Is this what toilet paper is for?" And no, elf, that is not what toilet paper is for. But listen, he decided to redecorate, I guess you could say, and then our reindeer was just along for the ride. But you know, we had to tell him that's not what toilet paper is actually for. It looks like Spider-Man had something to say about the mess that the elf and reindeer left behind the day before. And with the elf and reindeer being all webbed up, we can only assume that it was Spidey who left us a note on the iPad saying "caught red-handed." I guess Spidey wasn't going to tolerate any mess on his watch on this particular day. He's always making sure things are in order. This was another day that the kids had a hard time finding the elf, and quite frankly, I had a challenging time finding the elf as well. It wasn't until we got in the car to run some errands that we finally found our elf and our reindeer. Now, normally our dog Slinky sits in this spot. She has a little seatbelt, but as you can see here, Slinky was waiting in the driver's seat because her seat was taken. So we had to move Slinky to another spot that day since the elf was hitching a ride. Our elf and reindeer are big fans of books. Today they said, "What a great story. Can you read me another?" We always love reading books with our elf and reindeer. So on this day, we found some more books and we sat with the elf and reindeer and shared more stories. It's a great way to get our kids reading and have a really fun time with some books. What did Mrs. Claus say to Santa when she looked up at the sky? It looks like reindeer. Our elf and reindeer love to leave us jokes. This time they left a little joke with an umbrella just for kicks. We love when they tell jokes. It always gives us a good laugh. One of our Christmas traditions is gingerbread houses, and the elf left us a note saying, "Let's decorate my new home." So of course we were excited to have a new gingerbread house or a cookie kit house to decorate. We have so much fun doing this as a family, and it's even more special when our elf and reindeer leave it for us. Do you want to build a snowman? It looks like our elf made a snowman out of one of our doors. He is so creative and crafty, and it looks like he had the reindeer help him out. We love decorating our home for Christmas, and we really love this creative idea that our elf and reindeer came up with. Let us know in the comments down below if you like it too. Uh-oh, our elf was at it again on this particular day. It looks like he does not know what to do with painter's tape. Like I said, this guy, he could be a little bit cheeky from time to time. He'll try to experiment with different things. We saw him earlier with the toilet paper. We see him now with the tape, and we just might see him again later in this video doing something with some kind of material, unsure what to do with it. So make sure you hang around to see what he's up to later on. We always like to make sure we take time to talk to our kids about the reason for the season. And one great way to do that is through crafting. As I said earlier, our kids love crafts. So on this day, our elf and reindeer left us a couple of crafts that we could do with our kiddos that talk about the reason for the season, or we can talk about it as we make them. We can talk about the reason for the season. So we absolutely love that the elf came up with this idea. Like I said, our elf and reindeer really have stepped it up with their technology. So here you can see they took a selfie with one of our kids. They snuck in, took a little selfie, and then left it for our kids to find the next day. And let me tell you guys something, our kids thought this was the coolest thing ever. It looks like all of that traveling back and forth to and from the North Pole is finally taking a toll on our elf. He said, "Can you take my temperature?" He got himself the thermometer so we could check his temperature. He's got himself a blanket, some tissues, and there's the reindeer just hanging out with him. So we were hoping that he would recover because of course we want our elf to get better. Well, it looks like our elf made a full recovery since they've been up since the quack of dawn. On this day, we found our elf and reindeer hanging out with some ducks. Perhaps they were going to make a makeshift pond in one of the sinks. Uh-oh, the Grinch got a hold of our elf and reindeer. Looks like he was planning to make alphabet soup for dinner. Luckily, I think the Grinch was just playing a little fun trick on us, but there was no soup to be made. But, you know, he did give us quite the scare there, but all is okay. Here we found the elf playing with some Play-Doh. He left us a Christmas tree and asked us to make him something. The kids had so much fun on this day, being creative and making different things for Christmas for the elf and the reindeer. We love when our elf and reindeer get our kids' creative juices flowing. Here we found the elf prepping for the off-season, working on his tan. He was using the ring light to get some, I guess, sun. And laying on the towel, had some sunglasses, some sunscreen, so he was all ready to go, getting prepared for once Christmas was over to sit down and relax. We hadn't had much snow yet this holiday season, so instead of making snow angels, the elf and reindeer made a butterfly. So it looks like the reindeer had the elf lay down and drew a butterfly since he couldn't make a snow angel. I told you guys our elf was curious, so before he found himself using toilet paper and then painter's tape, and now here he is using the floss, and clearly he doesn't know how to floss properly. He said it was harder than it looks to floss. Here we found our elf taking a cozy little nap in our utensil drawer. The kids had a fun time looking for him since they were like, he's not out in the open, like where could he be? So then they started looking through things and eventually they found him. So this was definitely a great hiding spot for our elf. And speaking of hiding spots, our elf found another fun little hiding spot in our kitchen cabinet. He hid under a glass. I guess it reminded him of igloos that they have up at the North Pole. So that was a fun little spot to find him. Here we found our elf making some Legos. He made a chair out of the Legos and then he asked the kids to make him something. So the kids had a fun time making the elf different things. They showed them all the different things they like to create. So we really loved this idea from our elf. This was definitely one of my kids' favorite days when they found the elf. Santa says hi. So Santa texted the elf and he said, "Hey Chippy, hi Santa, please tell the kids I said hello. Will do, Santa, see you soon." So my kids were just so excited that they got a little message from Santa himself. With Christmas right around the corner, our elf was sharing with us his to-do list. Text Santa, feed reindeer, wrap presents, and bake cookies. Our favorite one on his list was definitely baking cookies. We decided to take some inspiration from him and we made a batch of cookies the same day. And speaking of cookies, we had to bake cookies for Santa. So the elf left us a plate and a cup so that we could leave Santa some milk and cookies. And we left him the cookies that we had made the day before so that Santa could enjoy some delicious treats when he came to visit us that evening. Christmas Day is always so exciting, but we always find our elf in our Christmas tree, or at least one of our Christmas trees. We have several throughout our home. So here we found our elf in one of our Christmas trees telling us that he would see us next year. So it's always bittersweet saying goodbye to our elf, but at least we know that we will see our elf and reindeer for next Christmas.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what our elf was up to last year. If you guys liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new and you like the content, and if you made it all the way to the end of the video, leave me a blue heart. And with that, I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye and Merry Christmas.